Hey guitar enthusiasts, we're gonna do a super cool song by Gordon Lightfoot, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and we are going to use a capo. Okay, so we're gonna be putting a capo on the 2nd fret of the guitar so that you can play and sound exactly like the song. We're gonna start with our chords. So I have 5 chords in total we're going to be using for this song. They're all easier open chords. The first one is an E minor chord, very nice and simple. We have a G chord, we have a D chord, we have an A sus2. You may not be familiar with that, but it's just your 1st and 2nd finger on the middle 2 strings. And the reason I'm going to use the 1st and 2nd finger as much as possible, on our intro and our outro, we have this chord called a G6/A. Kind of weird sounding chord, but what we're going to do is we're going to lift up our 1st finger and just slide the 2nd finger to our 4th fret, and then we're going to put our other 2 fingers in place. The 1st finger is going to come to the 3rd fret on the B string, and our 3rd finger is going to come to the D string, 4th string on the 5th fret, and this is 5th fret relative to the capo. Okay, very open sounding chord, and it's almost like a scrunched up little C chord, but up a few frets. So again, we have E minor, G, D, A sus2, and then this G6/A. Don't worry, not important, just learn where to get you. The name's not important, just know where to put your fingers, okay? So now that we know the chords, we have to talk about the timing for this song because it has a very specific timing. This song is in what we call 6/8 time. So we're going to be counting to 6, okay, versus 4/4, we're going to count to 4. So we're going to have a little bit more of a sway feel. That's why when you play this song, you feel like you can kind of sway back and forth, which is a great metaphor because it's it's about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, okay, and you're out on a lake in the sway of the water. So as I said, we're counting to 6, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to be changing our strumming. So on 1, 3, and 5, the odd numbers, we're going to do down strums, and on the even numbers, we're going to do up strums. So it's going to sound something like this. Okay, so it's down, up, okay? So we're doing a down on 1, and then up on 4, 5, 6. So just, if you don't worry about the numbers, just go down, up, 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 down. It's kind of a round, so once you get started, it doesn't stop. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I'm playing the A sus2 chord. Okay, and what you can do once you get into this strumming pattern is you can accent the 1st beat. Extra oomph to that 1st beat if you want to. So starting with this intro, these chords are going to be 2 measures each. So we're going to do the strumming pattern twice. And the progression is going to be A sus2, sliding up to G6/A, back to a D chord, A sus2. Okay, so that's the 1st round through. The 2nd time through, we're going to slide back up to that G6/A, D, and then we're going to stay on the A sus2 for 4 measures. Okay, so we're staying on that A sus2 for a very, very long time. So let's just get our strumming down. Okay, so we got 1, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, so this is our strum. Here we go. A sus2, G6/A, A sus2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that is our intro. Let's take it one more time. Okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. so that is our intro. And there is a little lead line that's played over that. I'm going to show you guys that towards the end of the video if you're interested. But for now, we're just going to stick with the strumming and the verse. So the great thing about this song, once we get to the lyric part, is that we have a fairly consistent chord progression. Now, chord progression is the order in which we play songs. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren Bateman, and I help make the guitar make sense. And I specialize in teaching older adults over the age of 50 to play guitar, which is why we're doing a really cool song by Gordon Lightfoot today. So the verse is going to start with our A sus2. We're going to do 2 measures of that, followed by 2 measures of E minor, okay? This is where it changes. We're going to do 1 measure of G, 1 measure of D, and then 4 measures of that A sus2, okay? So again, 2 measures, 2 measures, 1 measure, 1 measure, 4 measures. And every once in a while, sometimes he doesn't do that A sus2 twice, but in this first verse, he definitely does it every time. So let's do a little playthrough. If you're interested, our strumming pattern is not going to change on this. It's going to be the same strumming pattern, and we're just going to flow through these verses. And you know, this song has a lot of verses, so once you learn this, you actually know the entire song, except for that lead line I'm going to show you in a little bit. All right, so here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. The good ship and crew was a bone to be chewed when the gates of November came early. All right, so that's verse 1. Now, verse 2 is very much the same, except in verse 2, those A sus2s on the end, we only play them for 2 measures instead of the 4 measures. And then at the very end, we're going to have a little interlude where we can throw the lead line in. So let me just play through verse 2 for you real quick so you can hear the difference between the first and second verse. 1, 2. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from somewhere in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew, good captain, well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. And later that night when the ship bells rang, could it be the north wind they were feeling? Now that interlude section is where our little lead line would come in, and that's what I'm going to be going over next. So we're going to start with the interlude section, and then I'm going to switch over to a different guitar to show you how to play the full intro, because that has a few extra notes that is hard for me to play on an acoustic because of the bends. All right, so let's start off with what it's going to sound like. Okay, so what did I do there? Okay, so we have this little, what we call a double stop in guitar, which is a little bar on the 5th fret. So we're talking 5th fret relative to the capo. So I use my Taylor today so you can see the little dots on the front of the guitar. And we're gonna play both of them at the same time. Now, if that's a little weird for you, you could just play the high E string. That's the melody line. That's the most important note. But if you listen to the song, you're going to hear this double stop. Okay, so it's these 2 5s at the same time on the B and E string. Now, if you can, while keeping that B string ringing, we're going to play 5 7 5. Okay, and on my notes here, I have it as a hammer and puff, but I kind of like playing the notes. I like playing the notes individually. I think the notes are probably individually picked, so that's how I'm gonna play it. I just took a quick listen, so it's gonna be. Okay, now if that's hard for you to do, all I want you to do is play 5, 5, 7, 5, all on the high E string. See? You can always make things easier, okay? We can also make them harder if you want to. So here it is. Okay, or, okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our first finger and we're gonna come up to the 8th fret and we're gonna slide down to the 5th fret, okay? So what you gotta do when you're doing a slide, you really have to push into the fret. So if you're sliding and your note dies, you're letting go when you go on the slide. So you gotta push into the fretboard. Okay, so we've got, all right, so that's that. And then it's gonna be 5, 7, okay? So that's why I slid with my first finger, so I'd be all set up to do 5, 7 afterwards. So it's, now here's our first little bend. Now this is just a half bend. So a half bend means I'm just going up 1 fret on the note. So I want my bend to sound like this. And I'm gonna use 3 fingers, push into the fretboard. Okay, so did you hear what I did? I pushed into the fretboard and then I'm pushing up on my B string. So I'm playing the note and then bending. So see, I'm trying to get that note. I'm gonna hold it up there, I'm gonna pick it again, release it, and play the 5th fret. So it's, so bends give the guitar a very weepy sound. That's why I'm like, my guitar gently weeps. So many bends in that. If you're not really good with bending, that's okay. You can always slide. So you could go, instead of bending up, you go, okay, so you could just slide up to the 8th fret, and then 8th fret, slide back to 7, okay? I like the bends, so I'm gonna keep them in there. And on the acoustic, half bends, half note bends really aren't that bad. Okay, so that's the whole lick there, ending on the 5th fret of the B string. So if we take it from the top, okay, and that's the piece that's going to come in over the interludes. One more time. Okay, and then you can put a little vibrato on the end, and you do that by just kind of wiggling the string a little bit with your finger. Now the intro has a few additional notes that you can play to wrap this little lead line up, but I'm gonna have to make a quick swap. And I'm back. I have my PRS here, which is more of an electric guitar, so it makes bending strings a little bit easier because the strings aren't as thick on the acoustic. Now I will show you a way to slide in and out of it if you don't want to play the bends, but essentially this end to the intro has a full step bend, which requires us to push the string so much more, all right? So we're on the B string at this 5th fret, and I have to try to bend this string so it sounds like this note. It's not as easy. Okay, so you gotta try and bend that string to get it to sound like the note, okay? So if you've never done bends before, you can always go check out my Lead Guitar 101 course where I teach a lot of this stuff in that. If you're not good at bends, you could always just slide up to the 7th fret, okay? So you can either bend to that note, okay? Okay, and then we're gonna hold it up there and release it. Or you can just slide up. Okay, so 5 to 7, 7 to 5. Okay, sounds just as good. Sounds just as good. And then from here, we're gonna come up to the 7th fret on the G string. Oop, wrong string. Then the 9th fret on the G string. And then the 7th fret on the D string. Okay, and again, these are relative to the capo. Okay, so you might be strumming. From there, in the intro, you're going to go right to the 5th fret on the B string, and then 7, 9. Okay, and then 7 on the D string. So from the top, it's going to sound like this. Now, if you're a Gordon Lightfoot fan, I would highly recommend checking out my Sundown lesson right over there, which also features a really cool lick. Go watch that lesson right now.